In the previous lesson, you learned that making a note is fairly easy, but how do you go from a note to an entire system that you can use to keep track of all of your activities that you need to have done to have a successful running of your business? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new note. I've got some notes down here. They aren't color coded, they're really unorganized, but we're going to work on that together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new note. One thing I believe is that you do need to spend time reflecting on how your task management process has been going. You could do it daily or you could do it weekly. So I want to add a new note that's going to reflect weekly reflections. So I'm going to call this my weekly reflection. And then I've already copied all of this and got it the way I want it. So I'm just going to paste it here. And I don't need the 3 questions and I don't need this title at all. So I'm going to get rid of that. And here are my 3 questions inside of my note. There are a couple of things I'm going to do next. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it because this is something that's of importance. And so when you hit the pin button and you close, anything that's pinned is going to sit at the top of your note. Everything else is going to sit at the bottom. I really like this from a strategy standpoint because it allows me to decide what's most important in my notes from day to day or from week to week, and I pin those items at the top. When I click on the note again, it takes me to, making sure you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. It takes me to the notes that I have that I've left in this note. One of the things I like to do is I like to go to more and I like to show text checkboxes. A couple reasons for that. It allows me to move my to-do items up and down like this. It also allows me to indent them one time. So I've got my question, I've got my indentation. I'll go down here, I'll indent my details there, and I will indent my details there. And they give you some of the keyword shortcuts as you move along your keep, right? So this already feels more organized to me. Now, I have a couple of options. I'm going to start at the bottom of the page and I'm going to go to the left. First, I can set reminders. And what I love about reminders is I can do this a couple of different ways. So I can set them by time. So later today, tomorrow, next week, or I can do it by place. So let's say I go into the office each week for work. I can set this reminder so that every time I arrive at my workplace address, I would get an update about this note. Or it can also work the other way. Say I'm running a small business on my own, and when I get home, I want this note to remind me of some of the task I have to do in my small business. I can put in my home location. When I arrive home, it will remind me that those are some things I need to do. So this is a wonderful feature to really keep you on track. Since I'm not going anywhere, I would pick my date would be, I like Sundays, and I would pick the morning, and then I would repeat it weekly. So every week I would get a reminder about this note at 8 a.m. Then I would select close. I'm back in and look at some of the other features. You can also share notes. I really love the ability to share notes. Many of you may be participating in accountability groups or communities. Being able to share your list with each other, workshop with each other, or brainstorm with each other is an excellent way to use Google Keep Notes to keep track of what everyone's doing. Now, just keep in mind, in order for this to work, they have to have a Google account. Here's where I can do my color coding. So when I click the art palette, I can change the color palette to whatever I want it to be, or I can choose one of these pre-selected backgrounds. I typically stick to the colors that are in front of me, and I'll show you some really cool ways that you can create Google Keep Notes that really reflect your personality and style while also being functional. So I'll be showing you that in a later video. I can add an image. So I can pick an image of my choice. So I'll just pick that one as an example, and it will add that image. So when I close this up, now I have a visual representation of this note. It draws my eyes. I know exactly what's on this task list. I'm going to go in and remove some of these. There we go. Looks a little bit better. From there, I can archive the note. So when I archive it, it's immediately placed in this archive section. Now, I'll remind you more than once. Don't delete notes unless you have to. Always archive them. They will be there forever. So I'm going to go ahead and unarchive that note. I'm going to go back to my notes. I'm going to make sure this note is pinned to the top because this is the one I'm using. Then finally, I'm going to click on these three dots so I can delete the note. I can add a label. I can add a drawing, and I can make a copy of this note. I can hide checkboxes so I can remove the checkboxes. And I even can grab the text from this image. So if I hit grab text here, it took all of the text that was on this image and it dropped it right there. So this is a great way when you come across images and you need the text, you can do it right here in Google Keep. I can copy this to Google Docs. So if I want this list to go into a Google Docs, notice that it's copying it here. It opens it up and it copied not just the text, but it copied the image as well. And then finally, I can look at the version history, and finally, I can look at the version history and I can download previous versions in a text format. The undo and redo buttons are available for you, and you can use those buttons to navigate any changes or updates you want to make. I use both styles. So I've been known to use the checkmark style, and notice when I do checkmark, it shows what's completed at the bottom. If I uncheck it, it goes right back where I left it. I could do the same out here. When I check out here, it gets rid of both my major title and then what's been shelled underneath it. So this is everything you need to know about the basics of a note. Keep watching. We're going to learn more about what you can do with Google Keep as you build your list and create a system that works best for you.